Eagles go down to New Orleans, get a hard-fought win. It wasn't pretty. We'll get into it. Mike and Johnny here to break it all down for you.
Matches his best game. Here's Barkley. Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's the guy. He's going to take it. Touchdown from 65. Trying to get some of it back. They'll get plenty. Dallas Goedert is wide open. Down the sideline. Inside the 10. They do. It's Barkley. Surge from the offensive line. And a touchdown from Barkley. Before a field goal try. Still no Darius Slay at corner. Carr lofting into traffic. And picked off. Reed Blankenship.
And the Eagles come away with a really hard-fought win.
Yeah.
They're 2-1 against a tough New Orleans team. But listen, Mike, there is positives in here. There are some negatives. We'll get into that. The one positive, I'm going to start here with you. And I, texting you back and forth, the one thing, the defense. The defense. Unbelievable way to step their game up after a tough ending to Monday night's game. And, they did struggle in week 1 as well, but Vic had them ready to play, and boy, were they ready to play.
Yeah. And I mean, look, we've been hearing about the Vic Fangio style of defense this is Nick Sirianni's 4th year as head coach.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing what it's all about. Sometimes the disciples are not as good as the main man himself. So welcome, Vic. And despite a lack, again, of a consistent pass rush, I thought that the defense really rebounded. And look, we scored more points offensively than the New Orleans Saints did. But at the end of the day, the defense won us this game. It's plain and simple. I mean, this is a team that was just taking it to their first 2 opponents, the Carolina Panthers and the now 1-2 Dallas Cowboys. But our defense really held Derek Carr in check, and Derek Carr had been playing up until this point some of the best football of his career. I don't think there's any argument about that. We held the New Orleans Saints, Johnny, to under 100 yards rushing, which this is a team, again, been running kind of all over the place here. Yeah, loved what I saw from the defense. And I think overall, people say, what does Nick Sirianni do? He gets his team ready to play. This is a team that they lost Darius Slay for a while. Devonta Smith went out, which, by the way, that player, I forget what his name is, should be fined and suspended a game for targeting. So Smith was out. Britton Covey got hurt. A.J. Brown was out. The right side of the offensive
Lane
line.
Johnson and Mekhi Becton both were out. It was.
And credit to Tyler Steen and Fred Johnson coming in and playing some good football there too. So a lot of guys going out. Nick Sirianni, Vic Fangio, they had this team ready to play this week.
The only thing that, and we'll get into that maybe a little bit, but the not taking the points really frustrated me. But I do want to talk about some of the positives here. Saquon Barkley, unbelievable burst. That run was unreal.
Yeah.
The explosion. He hit the hole and credit to the offensive line. Cam Jurgens, Lane Dickerson, and that side of the line and what they did to just absolutely blow the guys back. And they would hit that hole and he was flying. It was gone. And it was funny because I think the first half, I think it's 17 rushing yards. That's all he had.
Yeah.
And he finished the game with over 140 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. And it's just the dynamic player that they had, especially like you mentioned, with all these guys that were out with injury and not playing. You had to rely basically on 2 players. And the 2 players were Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert.
And Dallas Goedert looked great.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And listen, I'll say this, like Jalen Hurts struggled with the interception and the fumble. Those weren't great plays. And yeah, Devontae has to come in front of the face of the defender. But again, you shouldn't really throw that ball. And you're basically taking points off the board when you're throwing the ball in red zone interceptions. So, well, maybe you're not taking off the board because, Sirianni just goes for it and doesn't do what he should do. But I think the way that he handled the rest of that game, and with his playmakers going down, Smitty going down, not having AJ, and what they did and what he did, the numbers he put up and how he led this team down the field, They had over 460 yards of offense.
Yeah.
And you really look at 15 points, not great, but they were moving the ball down the field on a very tough Saints defense. Saints defense isn't, no slouch. They have some pass rushers. Cameron Jordan's still there. You have Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu. You have some really good players. And the Eagles were able to hold up, able to put up a lot of yards. Listen, it was a struggle of a game. It wasn't a easy sit back. Oh, this is going to be great. It was the usual nail biter type of game, but the way that they fought and the way that they were able to come away with the victory down in New Orleans, I think that's pretty huge and very big for, confidence and them going into week 4 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little concerned that we don't play the Buccaneers very well, but they just got beat today too. So
By the Denver Broncos. So
by the
it's
Denver
interesting.
Broncos. Yeah.
Look, Carolina Panthers hammered the Vegas Raiders with Andy Dalton, our quarterback. The NFL doesn't really make sense right now. And, it's unfortunately that's just how it is. But I want to get your thought on this because I was watching a game and I had this thought, watching this defense. Bryce Huff only, I think, had 18 snaps.
And no
And
pressure.
you saw how great the defense was playing. And I really liked what I saw, knowing that New Orleans was going to come out and they were going to run the ball and they were going to try to get to the outside. That's just the way Alvin Kamara runs the ball. It's just how they are. And they were going with basically a 5-man front and using Zach Bond on the edge there, knowing if they have to pull him, he can play. I think that was fantastic. Yeah. And I think another thing too is this is the 3rd game in a row they played a somewhat similar type of offense coming from the same tree, Shanahan McVay tree. So it's very interesting the way they played, and I was absolutely ecstatic with how I saw only 1 sack. Jordan Davis got the sack, but tons and tons of pressure.
Basically, I think what teams are saying is this: we know you can't rush the passer. I can't talk. We're gonna run the ball because you can't stop that either, and we're gonna set up 3rd and short, and you're not going to do anything about it. For the most part, the first 2 weeks, that had been fairly true, except today, when that was happening, we had Nakobe Dean playing some of the best football so far of his career, and Zach Bond, who I thought of as kind of an afterthought when they signed him. I thought he was just going to be a rotational contributor. These guys are filling the gaps. They're filling the holes. And also, credit to Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis for clogging things up the line. Jalen Carter having one of the best game. I would say probably his best game of the season so far. Our run defense was really good. I have really good news for all you Eagles fans. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. Quinyon Mitchell can play.
Yeah.
This dude is going to be a staple here for a long time. A little concerning when Slay went out, Keely Ringo was in there and he got torched on his first play. But you know what? I thought he settled down a little bit after that. It's hard to jump in right in the middle of the game and say, go make plays. So,
yeah. But it was interesting was Isaiah Rodgers, who played a lot of, first and second team reps, didn't get that when Slay went down. He didn't get that.
Was he active today?
Yeah, I saw him on special teams.
He was
active. Yep.
So I thought he was the starter. He missed the first 2 games with a hand injury, right? And then
no, he was active last week. He just didn't start. He's not a starter. I guess he's the. I really don't know, honestly.
That's right. He did play this week. So what's going on? He was supposed to be the starter. Did they just demote him after that first game? I don't know.
My thing is, look, we saw Devin White, who again was inactive again today, just start and take a lot of first team reps in camp, and yet Nakobe Dean over him. So to me, I really don't know. And also you saw what the Eagles did with Bryce Huff today. 18 snaps, a lot of Brandon Graham, some sprinkled in Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat. To me, it's they don't trust Bryce Huff, and he's not great against the run. So it's right now it's not a great look. But all in all, the defense played very well. The safeties played well. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he's going to be in your face. He's going to talk. He's going to yap. It's just that's what he does. And, I'm okay with that because you need that type of attitude on a defense. And like you said, Jalen Carter, unbelievable game, throwing guys around, making plays behind the line of scrimmage. fantastic game, and it's what you want to see, and I want to see more of that. Going up against a Saints offensive line, yes, Eric McCoy got hurt. I believe it was like the first, second play of the game, but still, they still have good players on that offensive line that they were mauling people early this season in the first two games, and the Eagles were able to take it to them a little bit, and it was refreshing to see because we haven't seen a defensive performance like that in some time.
Yeah, and do you know who Tory Dandy is?
I don't know Tory Dandy.
That is Hassan Reddick's agent, and if I'm Howie Roseman, I'm on the phone with him tomorrow, and I'm figuring something out. Like, what can we do? Because look, the Bryce Huff, this is the third game now, and you just spent a lot of money on what ended up being a situational pass rusher.
My only thing too is
rushing the passer.
The more and more I watch, does he really fit the defense of what they want to do? That's the thing. Like in the New York Jets, it's same case in point when you look at Hassan Reddick too. The Jets play a lot of 4-3. They're basically like a 4-3.
Mhm.
Hands in the dirt, rushing the passer. Well, that's not Hassan Reddick. That's more Bryce Huff. I don't think it's a possibility. Not sure they would do that, but maybe swap them back and throw in a late round, like a 5th or 6th round pick in there. And listen, I'd like to see it happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's very frustrating to see, a high priced free agent not really show out. And also, you get a linebacker who has a name. He hasn't played great the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But not even get to sniff the field. So it's interesting. He's this year's Rashad Penny, it seems like. And on the roster, but not on the field. So yeah, it's frustrating to see. And you know what I did like too? I like seeing Jack Stoll and seeing Calcaterra, throw their bodies in there, able to block, I like seeing a lot of that because the Eagles, especially with your playmakers out, them relying on the run game and Saquon, because they're able to get chunks, especially late in the game. They were able to just get chunks and chunks of yards, and it's fun to see. And a lot of people like the flashy, high-powered speed type of offense that goes down the field like that. But it doesn't. Listen, it's not a bad thing when you can eat up yards in chunks because that's going to eat clock, it's going to eat time of possession, and it's going to put an emphasis on the other team's offense, knowing that they don't have as much time to get down the field and score points if you're able to move down the field like you are and put some points on the board. So again, I think that was another positive when you're taking a look at this Eagles offense. And yeah, 15 points isn't super positive, but again, 460 yards, 6.9 yards per play. To me, that's a little bit positive on a good Saints defense in New Orleans. First time the Eagles have won in New Orleans since 2007.
Which is insane. Here's another thought too, and this, I'm not saying this is the be all end all. Shaq Lawson is a free agent.
Did he play with Miami last year? Or was that years ago?
He was back in Buffalo last year, but last year he started one game, didn't really do too much, but he had a sack. Bring him in. They've had a decent run. Joseph Linval and Ndamukong Suh bringing these guys up off the street. What can it hurt at this point?
No, it's that. Listen, I think that's smart. You want to try to see what you can do, and the things that we will be watching this upcoming week going into the Tampa game, of course, is the injury statuses. Especially Mekhi Becton, was his hand, so not sure how bad that is. I guess they said that Britton Covey was in a sling after the game, which to me, that's never really good at all. So to me, that screams a little bit. If it's a shoulder injury, you could see him being potentially put on IR, which again, the Eagles do have two guys that can return punts and kind of the same mold on the practice squad. And Danny Gray and Kyle Phillips. So the other thing is Lane Johnson with a concussion.
They said he was vomiting, but I guess a concussion could do that.
They said he wasn't feeling good too, so I don't know what that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he had like a flu or I don't know, something like that.
I don't know, but you also have to realize too, after Tampa Bay, there's the bye week.
Yeah.
So this is where we're going to see, is AJ Brown going to be healthy enough to play in Tampa, or are they going to hold him off and let him get that bye week and then play week 6 against Cleveland? I don't know. If it's
what if Devonta Smith is out though?
Exactly, Devonta Smith too, like concussion. Is he going to be like? There's a lot of stuff to watch going into this game against Tampa.
Yeah,
because you have a lot of injuries that have kind of accumulated. Darius Slay, I know he was kind of limping. I don't know if it was his knee. I'm not sure exactly what all that was, but you got to watch him too. But I will say this though, New Orleans is one dirty team. They've got a lot of guys that are.
You and I were talking about this, and I hate to be the guy calling for a flag, but at one point they had one penalty for 5 yards, and when you have a defensive lineman going like this, he's being held.
Yeah.
I saw numerous times Brandon Graham, his arm getting held. It was lunacy, just absolute lunacy. And yeah, they are a dirty team. They are an absolute dirty team, pushing Slay out of bounds.
Into the bench, like, come on. Like,
what happened with Devonta Smith, and then I'm seeing clips where the one guy spit on Devonta Smith after the play. Yeah, they are a dirty team. You're absolutely right about that.
And it was funny because, CJ Gardner-Johnson, I want to pull it up. I want to bring this up because someone posted, let me just pull it up. It's like CJ Gardner-Johnson unplugged, and let me get it up. So I think it was in the locker room. Yeah, here it is. All right. It's 2 minutes long. So I'm going to share it, and then something that's pretty interesting. It's 2 minutes, but okay.
Like, everybody want to bet on, they thought they had us on a little set around the lobby. Okay, cool. But they didn't go over our head all day. Oh, cool. It's cool. It's cool. We got the best secondary, best D-line, best front seven in the league right now. And I'm popping it. Because at the end of the day, they say we were down and out. They talked about last week. Now look at you now.
That's been the top offense in the league coming into today. What you guys do?
Top what? Top what?
The Saints?
Top what?
In terms of points?
Top what?
You're at the,
top what? Ain't nothing get over that top from.
Okay.
Shout out to Slade, shout out to Q, shout out to Ponte, shout out to Reed, shout out to Ringo, shout out to Coach CP, shout out to Coach JK. Man, best secondary in the league. That's the case.
What'd you have to play through today?
We ain't play through nothing. Play through my teammates. I'm not worried about somebody. Listen, we keep receipts. That's what I told y'all in my room. See y'all Sunday. I told y'all the day before. They got rid of me. I ain't get rid of them. It's still in me. It's still tatted on me. I ain't worried. Come on, do nothing. Man, we put our head down and get that taste out your mouth, bro. I feel so relieved right now. At the end of the day, my team did this one. It wasn't me. It was my team. Our team came together. A couple guys went down. A couple guys spoke up, and a couple guys understood what the task at hand. We came through locked on, and we came through and kick the door in.
Well, where was the confidence coming from after last week?
Man, the confidence coming from ourselves. We got to believe in ourselves. Everybody say, "Oh, this we coming in against the number one team and all this." Man, listen, at the end of the day, it's football. It's only week 2. How you the best offense and best team if it's only been 2 weeks played? We still got what? 16 weeks to go. So at the end of the day, we had to just tune out the noise, understand who we were, and just go out there and play equal ball. That's what happened.
Did you have to play through some pain today?
Man, there's something beat up, but that don't stop nothing, bro. That don't stop nothing. They don't stop the dog mentality, the coaching staff. They don't stop working on the basic fundamentals. It's things we got to clean up as a whole.
He was just he was ready. He was ready to go off. And listen, I love the attitude. You need that on your team.
Yeah.
You need that type of fight. And even, did you see at the end of the game, Jalen Carter with the thumbs down and, they're talking to the fans, and then he was chirping him and Tyrann Mathieu. Listen, you need guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I love it. Yeah, they're young guys, but absolutely, I love that.
Yeah. I do have one question that I wanted to ask you. You've been a believer since day one. Are you concerned about Jalen Hurts at all? This is another 2 turnover game. He seems to have a problem with veteran safeties, which I guess, any younger quarterback will. But this is we're in year 5, I think, of Jalen
Yeah.
Hurts. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's concerning, and my heart doesn't like it. I don't need all these come from behind victories or
No,
I'll take an easy win every once in a while. That's not going to hurt my feelings.
so the way that I look at it, like I was very concerned, watching that, but the way that the game ended and the way that he, helped drive the team. Yeah, I know Saquon's run got him that touchdown, and then, but again, he made some big passes on, the game, basically the game winning drive, to Goddard. A couple big, and especially when that was his only target. And yeah, he didn't get on the stat sheet for any touchdowns, but he had over 300 passing yards, um, and he drove the team down the field. Huge pass plays. Uh, he kind of made up for that one misplay on Dallas Goedert running up the seam on Tyrann Mathieu, but he made some hella plays. It was, you can be a little concerned because you can't win this way. You can't sustain winning this way by losing the turnover battle.
Yeah.
You're not going to win football games if you're going to give the ball back more than you're going to take it away. So that's definitely got to get cleaned up. And again, this is why I'm a big time advocate on playing in the preseason.
Yes.
Especially when you have new coordinators.
I don't care if
the rust off
1 or 2 drives a game.
Yeah. Give me a solid quarter or so of preseason football. Get yourself some of these rust off. Like it needs to happen. That needs to happen. This whole let's not play in the preseason, to me, makes 0 sense. Now, before we head it off, I do want to bring this up. The whole Nick Sirianni overthinking, over aggressive is, to me, he's going to lose his job because of it. Because you can't do that. When you were away and on the road, you take the points.
Yeah.
You need to take the points. And the other thing, too, is it is 13 seconds to go, 16 or 13 seconds, whatever. It was less than 20 seconds to go. And you go with a fake tush push, hand to Barkley. You would have had to call a timeout anyway and kick a field goal. So really,
I think Barkley could have had that. I think he cut in too early. If he would have stretched that outside, I think he would have had it. Yeah, you know what I think the problem is a little bit? I think when we're getting in these situations like that, and last week that pass play to Barkley, which, again, typically he has that. Are these coaches overthinking things? You know what I mean? They're like, they're expecting this, we're going to do this. And I think they're overthinking things a little bit. I think that's a combination of Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni. But, it's one of those things where I want our head coach to be a little aggressive, though. I'd rather have that than just vanilla. But there's a time and a place for everything. The good thing is we're 2-1. We're in first place in the NFC East, and just need the Commanders to lose tomorrow night, too. And then we'll be good. I think they play the Bengals, right?
Yeah. In Cincinnati, I believe. So I'm thinking there's going to be a pretty big game by the Bengals. Yeah. Listen, it's something that's concerning because that's huge when you're basically he doesn't call the plays. He's the guy on the sideline that is the scenarios and the situational football. He's supposed to be the guy that is keen on this situational football. It's got to tighten up because if you're going to play like this, or you're going to call the game like this, and you're not going to take points, and you're going to, leave points on the field, that's not a recipe for success, because it can and sometimes will come back to bite you in the ass. And listen, it did it last week when they didn't take the points early in the game. They lost that game. So for me, it's just the points are there. If you're at home, maybe it's a little bit different just because the home crowd's on your side. But when you're on the road, you take those points. That is, I don't care what the analytics say. Take the points, put the points on the board, because those points can come back to matter at the end of the game. And, luckily they were able to get the game sealing interception. That was great to see by Reed. So all in all, it was a great defensive performance by the Eagles. Vic Fangio and leading that Eagles defense, and those guys were able to take a high-powered Saints offense and only have them score 12 points. Absolutely phenomenal. The offense had their struggles, but 460 yards of offense. Saquon Barkley, over 140 yards rushing, played a tremendous game, that long 65-yard run. And Dallas Goedert, 10 catches, 170 yards, when basically him and Barkley were the only two guys, weapons on the field.
Yeah.
With having no AJ and Smitty. So Eagles get a hard-fought win, 15-12. Hey, I'm all for it. You're 2-1. You're going into week 4 against Tampa Bay Buccaneers right before your bye week. You got the win. You found a way to win. You're 2-1. Sometimes that's all that matters.
Also, some great stats courtesy of Reuben Frank. The Eagles have, I think since the beginning of last year, 11 interceptions. Reed Blankenship has 5 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. And I did the math. Shady McCoy is the all-time Eagles leading rusher. If Saquon Barkley in his 3-year contract wants to tie that, he has to play every game for 3 years and average 133 yards a game. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Listen,
I'm just saying it's possible, right?
Yeah. No, it's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but again, just give me a Super Bowl and I'll be good.
Yeah, that's really all I want, man. Just another Super Bowl, because 17.
Chip checking in. Yeah.
Happy anniversary, by the way, Chip.
That's why he's not on.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, you know what, Chip? Good on you, man. Spend some time with that lovely wife of yours. Happy anniversary to you guys. To my good friend Seacoast and his wife. Happy anniversary. I don't know.
He'll be back on Wednesday. So
awesome. I don't know how long they've been married now, but
I don't know. Maybe he'll chime in and let us know.
Yeah, let us know, Chip. Let us know in the comments how long you've been married. Also, apologies.
12 years.
12 years. Congrats. Apologies to Zach Bond for all of the bad things I said about you when they signed you this offseason. Yeah. But hey, listen, they got something there with Zach Bond.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to be anything. The guy's a good contributor. He's playing really well. The only problem I have with Zach Bond playing so well is this. It validifies Howie Roseman saying, see, we don't need to draft highly. We don't need to spend a lot of money at the position because Zach Bond. This is not a long-term strategy.
But listen, you have that, but also you have the Devin White signing. So right there, they kind of counteract each other and basically delete each other. So
yeah,
you're at.
I mean, look, Zach Bond's only 27.
Yeah, he's not.
He could be here for a couple of years. Do you know how long his contract is by chance?
I thought it was a 2-year deal, but I'm not 100% sure. Well, actually, no. It is a 1-year deal, but it's structured like a 3-year. So I think they can extend him. So he's most likely going to probably get extended because he has a couple of void years on his contract.
I would think at this point, I mean, I know it's early, but at this point you almost have to. He's playing so well. Also, Zach Bond, bigger than I thought, 6'3", 225. I didn't know he was that tall.
Yeah.
But, and hey, look, credit to Nakobe Dean. This is a guy who's been maligned. His first year in the league. I still think they should have, when they were blowing teams out on the way to the Super Bowl, they should have found ways to get him on the field, even if for a few snaps here or there.
I agree with you on that.
Last year, the injuries, he didn't look great in camp this year. he's just a different dude when the tape rolls on game day, and good for him, man.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So, hey, Eagles are 2-1. We'll be back on Wednesday night to break down Inside Swoop and breaking down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers matchup. So Chip will be back for that, and it's going to be some fun to be able to break down that game and see, the Eagles have to make up for that loss in the playoffs last year in Tampa Bay. So, it's going to be a big matchup, big NFC matchup. So, we'll be back on Wednesday to discuss that. And, with that, we always end it. Hey, a very happy today, very happy and joyful. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
This is Matt Ware. Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey, Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the bird.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.
All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.